As we study ITCS, information technology, computer science, I tell my students all the time, think about what is really going on with the different technology. Let's do a thought experiment. I want you to think of something. I want you to think of a person, place, or thing. All right? And I guarantee you, somebody in the 8.5 billion, almost 9 billion people in the world is having the exact same thought at this exact same time. Hello, everybody. This is Nick Totero, Professor of Information Technologies and Computer Science, Lakeland Community College. I call this personally the creepy crawler effect, and I'll explain why, or sometimes I call it the Mattel Thing Maker effect. Quick story. When I was young, they had this toy. It was called Mattel Thing Maker. Sometimes it was called Creepy Crawler. It had this little oven, little stove that got to like 400 degrees. You put some goop in there, and I really wanted it as a kid. And obviously, when you're 7, 8 years old, your parents don't want you playing around with a 400-degree little oven cooking stuff. But I use that as an analogy because right now, if I was to go up on the internet, and I'll do this demonstration, and do a quick little search, you know what? Let's do it. Let's go up to my screen. I've already done it. I've gone up to eBay, and I've done a search on Mattel Thing Maker, which was the original name of this creepy crawler thing. I don't know. I know it's called creepy crawler, but anyways, the official name is Thing Maker. Came out in the early 60s. I wanted one in the, I'd say the early 70s. They were still kind of making them. They were out there. I remember a friend of mine had them. But to me, what is fascinating about it is if I click on this one right here, and it shows me right here, this little thing right here, in the last 24 hours, 9 people have viewed this particular thing. If we go back, there's 884 results associated with this. Unfortunately, I don't see any active bidding, but I guarantee you, at a certain point in time, as the bidding comes down to a certain point in time, let's see, what is this one? I was already there. I should have just clicked over here. It doesn't say when the bidding, so he's just basically selling it. But where I was going is, basically, if I was to go to any one of these and find out what the bidding process is, it's probably not going to be showing anything until like maybe the last 5 minutes. And now think about that for a second. For the last 5 minutes of something being bid on, you will see 20, 30 people going after this stuff. So a little bit of this thought experiment. Think of something. Think of something you can purchase. Something not strange, but something that most people wouldn't even think of. A thing maker, what do you call it? The big wheel that we played with when we were kids, a certain matchbox, a certain truck, something, and go to eBay and do a search on it. And just remember, at that particular moment in time, somebody else in the world is thinking the exact same thought. So let's wrap some things up here. Short little video, all right? I have used this Thing Maker, creepy crawler explanation in many of my classes, especially when people ask me why they get caught in this group think, or they might look at comments and people are almost echo chambering certain things. It's because there's so many of us, and the internet has made it so easy for all of us to communicate. If I was to get back into my Wayback Machine 30 years ago, how would I even look up? Where would I have to go buy it? I'd have to go find some antique store, or maybe there's some hobbyist out there. So the internet and what we do with the internet, again, I ask my students to think about this, has really connected us in a way that 30 years ago we couldn't even imagine. So as you're working on your material, ITCS concepts and things like, think about not just the internet. Don't think about just eBay or anything like that. Think about how this has really changed who we are from one generation. It has radically changed who we are and what we do and what we think in less than one generation. So that being said, let's go and learn something.